So I am going to start with why are we here today? What do we hope to accomplish? The Coalition to Reimagine Appalachia believes that with the right resources, focus, and strategies, the Ohio River Valley of Appalachia, better known as coal country, can be transformed into a modern manufacturing hub. This is the key to creating jobs equivalent to those lost in the coal industry. Today is the culmination of several years of work, listening sessions, research, facilitated discussions with a wide range of stakeholders, ranging from manufacturing experts, economic development groups, organized labor, community leaders, and others working to answer the following questions. What are the products of the future, the growing market for which Appalachia can realistically become a hub? And as we grow manufacturing in the region, how do we ensure the future of manufacturing is more sustainable and equitable? Taking all that we have learned from with working with you all thus far, we have now put together a draft manufacturing action plan for Appalachia. And we will be sharing with you all that in the chat. Our time together today is designed around securing your expertise and input in order to further develop this action plan. Our first session of the day, we will one, explore vision for Appalachia's energy and manufacturing sector, highlight Appalachia's historic and existing strength in manufacturing, as well as the region's many manufacturing related assets, all of which lay a solid foundation for achieving our collective vision. We will also discuss the work we need to do and the region's collective story we need to be telling in order to help drive both public and private investment into the region. And that's what we will need to get us from where we are to where we want to go. Later on today, we will also have a panel of manufacturing leaders, both locally and nationally, to share their thoughts on the more general work we need to do in order to achieve our ultimate vision. What is our roadmap for getting from here to there, or blueprint? But throughout the day, and in recognition that really everyone here is an expert in their own way, we will have you all participate in more Mentimeter survey questions, as well as facilitated breakout discussions across a wide range of topics in order to draw out your expertise. So please put your thinking caps on and roll up your sleeves. And then following today, we will gather all those Mentimeter results, the panel transcripts, and notes from those facilitated breakout discussions. And we will use all that information to update the draft Appalachian Manufacturing Action Plan. Then we will recirculate the draft to anyone willing and able to review it and to provide final input. And so finally, we then plan to secure, hopefully, what will be a wide range of stakeholder endorsements from the region's community, labor, business, faith, environmental, economic, local government leaders, and organizations. And we also toying with the idea of putting together an Appalachian Manufacturing Advisory Board to help keep the momentum going and keep the work moving forward. Okay, so one final thought. No individual can achieve a bold vision for the region, but if we all work together across geographical lines and stakeholder groups to find common ground and create a collective vision, we can combine our collective leverage, our collective power, and our efforts to achieve common goals and transform the region into a hub for modern manufacturers and modern manufacturing and ultimately leaders of the new energy economy. Okay. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Tom Reed, the Director of Communications and Community Outreach for Catalyst Connection. They're a manufacturing extension partnership based in the Pittsburgh area. They secured a large grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission to build a network of manufacturing extension partnerships across the region, working together to achieve big things for energy and manufacturing in the region. And as well, it also supports the manufacturing work of ReImagine Appalachia. So, Tom.
All right. So yeah, thank you, Amanda. Excited to be here today and talk with you all about manufacturing and our local regional manufacturing's role in the new energy and the future of energy. As Amanda said, I work for Catalyst Connection. We're a manufacturing extension partnership that supports Southwestern Pennsylvania. The MEP network goes across the entire United States. So there are centers like Catalyst Connection everywhere. And we work to support manufacturers, small, medium-sized manufacturers. Catalyst Connection has been around for more than 35 years. And we look for a variety of ways to help manufacturers with their processes, their people, helping them with to be leaner, more productive, have higher quality standards, just be more competitive on a global market so that they can stay in business, hire local workers, pay taxes, and be a good representative of the community. And so when we do that, when Catalyst Connection does that, we also look for other sources of grant funds or other partners that we can work with that may help to expand our reach and our impact and help that we can do for manufacturers. And one of the areas that we have seen over the last decade or more is on new opportunities in energy that our local manufacturers should be taking part in, should be key driver. There are a lot of energy sources that have been in this region, and as Amanda reflected, the coal deposits that are in Appalachia were a rich source of energy that brought a lot of manufacturing and a lot of opportunities here. But we know that things have evolved, and there are many sources of energy here, and certainly even those that maybe aren't centered here, the manufacturers in our region can be a key part of that. So we did apply for several grants around energy, and one of the largest was the Arise grant that we put under our program, Energy and Manufacturing in Appalachia. And so we have partnered with 10 other MEP centers like ourselves and with ReImagine Appalachia. And the intention is to we cover 156 counties of 5 states, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, New York, and Maryland. And so the goal of that grant is to do 2 things. One is to help small, medium-sized manufacturers to do more work in energy supply chains. And we don't really pick a favorite. We don't have a horse to win. We kind of are supporting all the energy fields, but we do. It makes sense that our manufacturers are going to invest and work in those supply chains that are being successful, that are growing, and certainly a lot of the sustainable and renewable energy sources have been where a lot of the opportunities are. And so we like to support that. The other aspect of our grant is to help any manufacturer, whether they're in an energy supply chain or not, to be more energy efficient. So we have resources. We have a mini grant program where any company could get up to $10,000 to help them on that route. So that's our goal, is we want companies to be more efficient. We want them to be working in energy. We want them to be aware of the opportunities. And something more recently that we have done and I will share, I think I shared the link early on and I just shared it again, that we have started creating energy supply chain reports about each energy source that's out there. And sometimes we have more than one under a single energy source. But these reports really help to break down what are the opportunities, what are the challenges, what are the ways that a manufacturer can get involved in these energy supply chains. And when we say supply chain, that could be solar, wind, natural gas, those things, but it also could be electric grid products. It could be circular plastics. It can be, products that are key to this energy growth and revolution. So we're excited to be a part of all of that. We think that the region's manufacturers are poised and have the skill set to be a part of these growing opportunities. And that's where we are here to do that. And so hopefully that helps get everybody on the right mindset. And I'm happy to answer any questions as we go on how we can continue to do that.
Okay, back to me. Um, So we will now turn to ReImagine Appalachia's Senior Fellow, Wendy Patton, and our Sustainable Manufacturing Analyst, Vikash Gupta. We heard from Tom a little bit about where we want to go. So let's back up a second to get the existing lay of the land. What are Appalachia's strengths and assets that lay the foundation for where we are now? And how do those strengths and assets play into or connect to the clean economy and clean tech products and some of those growing markets that Tom referred to? Wendy and Bakash, the floor is yours.
We appreciate your time today. This is a little bit of a long story map, but it tells our story. North Central Appalachia is built for the clean economy. It is evolving into the economy of the future. Rich deposits of coal provided the energy that fueled the rise of basic manufacturing industries in the United States. North Central Appalachia led the nation in basic industries, producing the metals, machinery, brick, glass, rubber, cement, plastics, and more. As early as the 1920s, jobs in coal mining were already declining, but manufacturing remained strong. This does not mean deindustrialization did not affect the region. It did. But we found the share of manufacturing employment in North Central Appalachia is higher than typical for the nation today. ReImagine Appalachia focuses on the 210 counties of 6 states, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, West Virginia, New York, and Maryland, that are under the jurisdiction of the Appalachian Regional Commission, shown in dark green on this map. We analyzed the manufacturing sector of the region using the location quotient, an economic formula that compares the share of employment in a particular industry within a region with the share of employment in that industry in a larger region, like in the nation. A location quotient of 1 indicates the share of jobs in an industry in the region is average. A location quotient of 2 indicates employment is twice as concentrated. Higher location quotients indicate local specialization and the presence of key industrial assets that can foster the growth of new industries. We first analyzed the Appalachian counties in the 4 states of the Ohio River Valley that included the coal country of Appalachia. This graphic shows how over the past quarter century, the share of manufacturing employment across these 4 industrial states of North Central Appalachia was about a third more concentrated than average. In Ohio and Kentucky, it was 50% more concentrated over time. The historic manufacturing base shaped essential assets for the future: the skilled workforce, mature supply chains, dense transportation networks, access to major markets, universities, technical training schools, and centers of research and development. This industrial foundation positions the region to play a vital role in the emerging clean tech economy, generating new employment opportunities. Now, this chart gives a 30,000-foot overview of the manufacturing economy of the 210 Appalachian counties in the 6-state region. The region's concentration of jobs in consumer products, that's NICS code 31, is about the same as in the nation. It is much higher in the production of building and construction materials. That's NICS code 32, and NICS means North American Industrial Classification System. So much more concentrated in building and construction materials, as well as in metals and durable goods. A more granular analysis shows strength in selected industries. In this chart, we looked at industries defined by the three-digit NICS codes. Look at primary metals, wood products, and plastics at the top. There is a great concentration of jobs in these sectors compared to the nation in north central Appalachia. Of the 21 manufacturing industries analyzed, the Appalachian counties have an average or higher share of employment in 14 manufacturing industries. And here's how those sectors are evolving into the clean tech industries of the future. New investment has maintained the region's strength in metal production, fabrication, and machinery manufacturing. Components from Steel of West Virginia and from Nucor Steel's Kentucky mill produce new wind-ready steel to address a crucial need in clean energy development. The strength of the wood product manufacturing sector supports employment almost 3 times as concentrated as in the nation, serving construction markets from the coast west to the Mississippi. This foundation facilitates the evolution of new products like mass timber, which can help reduce carbon emissions of the built environment. The concentration of employment in plastics and rubber production is twice as high as typical in the nation. Today, petrochemical and plastic resin manufacturers use locally produced natural gas to make the resins from which conventional plastic products are made. This is an economic strength, but the market is changing, with the fastest growth in bioplastics made from crops, not natural gas. The region has what it takes to supply these crops, like hemp and sorghum, from which bioplastic feedstock can be derived, which can help the industry evolve into new and sustainable products that can reduce waste and environmental degradation and avoid natural resource depletion. There are many evolving connections between the basic manufacturing industries of north central Appalachia and the emerging clean tech economy. Bakash will review our network diagram on these connections.
Let's open this data visualization in a new tab for better viewing. So this is a radial network diagram, and it offers an illustrative, non-comprehensive look at how North Central Appalachia's strongest manufacturing sectors in blue here, how they connect to emerging green economic sectors in green, and how that in turns are connected to the specific products and technologies in pink. For example, if I hover above primary metal, we can see how this industry, where Appalachia holds a competitive strength, can contribute to 7 different green sectors we have identified, from energy storage to wind turbine. If I hover above energy sector, we can see the connections of 3 competitive industries in the North Central Appalachian region: primary metal, chemical, electrical equipment, how they can play a part in this green economic sector's energy storage, and how in that process we can produce items such as grid battery storage, lithium ion batteries. This is a reminder that Appalachia isn't starting from zero, that we already have connections to the future.
A regional economy, of course, is built on local economies. ReImagine members have an interest in local economies that incorporate new clean technologies, renewable energy, and other green industries that address climate change and environmental degradation while creating well-paying jobs for Appalachians. This map highlights where those industries will grow. It shows where manufacturing employment is the strongest, as indicated by the darker shades of blue. It spreads across most of Pennsylvania and the western portions of the Appalachian counties in Ohio and Kentucky. A closer look by industry and county reveals strengths particular to specific counties. Now, if you look at textile products, you'll see that the region has by and large lost a once strong textile industry. Today, there are few counties with employment concentration in textiles. But scrolling across to wood products highlights the strong wood production industry of West Virginia, where location quotients in many manufacturing sectors is not all that high, but the state has concentrated employment in wood product manufacturing. The region's chemical industry is concentrated along the Ohio River, where some of the biggest plastic firms and chemical producers in the world make petrochemicals from which plastic resins for the plastic products is created. And in terms of plastics, you can see concentrated employment in the production of plastic products across Pennsylvania, as well as in the other states. It's an important industry in the region, employing close to 40,000 workers. We've got a sunburst chart that will provide an overview of our dashboard on manufacturing employment by industry and location.
I'll again open this data visualization tool here in the new tab. So this is a Sunburst chart that gives us an interactive top-down view of North Central Appalachian manufacturing, starting at the state level, which is the inner core here, and then extending to county level, which is the outer core. As we click on the county, it will spread to different manufacturing subsectors that are available in that county. This dashboard includes information for 210 counties in the North Central Appalachian region and helps us answer where are the jobs, which state leads in manufacturing, and how the jobs in a certain manufacturing subsector is distributed across counties and 6 states. For example, I'm interested here in Pennsylvania North Central Appalachian region. Here you can already see how the Appalachian portion of the Pennsylvania is doing broadly in manufacturing. It accounts for the largest share of the manufacturing jobs in the region, about more than 260,000. So let's sort of drill down to Pennsylvania. As I click here, it opens up to all the counties in Pennsylvania. I can go and click on Allegheny County, and it opens up to all the different manufacturing subsectors that are in the county. Here, for example, computer and electronic product manufacturing, it employs about 4,400 people, and it has a location quotient that is just shy of what is typical, which is 1. So as you hover above, you will find information of different manufacturing subsectors and how many people they employ in that particular county. I will just click this green arrow twice to come to the initial chart. We can also use this drop-down menu to hone in on one particular industry that we want. For example, let's say computer and electronic product manufacturing again, and what it does is filter through the data set to give us information only relevant to that industry. And here we can see how, again, Pennsylvania sort of leads in computer and electronic product manufacturing in the sort of 6-state region with 16,000 people employed. Allegheny County, we just saw a while ago about how it employs 4,400 people. New York comes second, New York Appalachian portion. It employs about 6,500 people. So this mini Sunburst chart dashboard can be a useful tool for you to learn more about the manufacturing subsectors and how jobs in those sectors are distributed across counties and the Appalachian portion of 6 states.
Analysis of the regional economy is a summation of data from places where the manufacturing happens in the plants and mills where people go to work every day and produce the goods we rely on in our everyday lives. Our map here gives more qualitative information on places, profiling each state and the industrial composition of 2 counties within each state, those with the most manufacturing and those with the least. Now, the foundation of the old economy has created assets for new markets and economic activities. The streams that run red with acid mine drainage will be mined for rare earth elements while cleaning the toxic water. Scientists and industrialists are exploring the extraction of critical minerals like lithium, magnesium, aluminum, and rare earths from coal ash ponds and other coal wastes. Shuttered coal plant sites themselves are becoming industrial parks with copious acreage, industrial zoning, heavy electrical connections, access to water, rail, road, and air transportation, and located in places with skilled workers. We've got a dashboard on are shuttered coal plant assets in the region as well.
This dashboard, developed by ReImagine, it is in its earliest stage, but it maps the location of retired coal plants across the four state Appalachian region: Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. It helps better understand where energy transitions are already underway and to explore opportunities for reuse, reinvestment, or remediation of former coal sites. Here, I will go forward and select all the states here to view retired sites across the region. I'm choosing this site in particular. I'll just zoom down a bit. This site is called Hatfield Ferry Power Station in Greene County, Pennsylvania. You'll see a description here that talks about different manufacturing subsectors that are competitive in that county vis-a-vis the nation. Now, I can also see the sort of ecosystem in which this retired coal site is. I'll just use the layer function here to turn off certain layers and then turn on the infrastructure layers. Within infrastructure, we have a waterway network, for example. As I click it, I find that this site is close to a navigable waterway. Similarly, if I turn on the airport layer, we'll see how uh, this site is closer to an airport, which is Morgantown Airport in West Virginia. Similarly, let's see, roads, it's next to a road network, and same with the railway network line. It just lies next to railway network line. So that seems like a promising setup for potential industrial reuse or renewable energy siting, and you can do so for um, different sites across the Appalachian region. So overall, this dashboard allows us to visualize where the retired coal plants are, their proximity to different transportation networks, and assess their reuse reinvestment potential.
The shuttered coal plant site offers an ideal location for circular manufacturing. Dozens of retired coal plant sites in central Appalachia provide unique opportunities for the efficient configuration of industrial parks in a net zero or eco-industrial park, like the eco-industrial park of the Industrial Commons in North Carolina. These sites are attracting investment interest of data centers, which are good tenants for circular manufacturing sites, not because they produce a lot of jobs, which is the ultimate goal of industrial development, but because their unique energy needs suit them well for combined heat and power or shared energy systems, which are efficient and cost effective for groups of companies. So, in conclusion, as Amanda mentioned earlier, we sought to answer a couple questions in our analysis. Given the region's competitiveness in a given industry, what role can the region play in the new clean economy? And number two, are there new and growing markets where the industry can grow? And if so, what steps are needed to turn that potential into reality? The past 25 years show that the manufacturing strength of North Central Appalachia is intact and growing, with strength in manufacturing subsectors essential to the new clean economy. New industrial jobs will be based on investment in these industries. New energy efficient capacity is being added to steel manufacturing, which serves renewable energy markets like wind turbines. New market demand for bioplastics made from locally grown crops can make existing plastics production more sustainable and less damaging. Those same local crops, as well as reuse of waste from coal, can help create construction materials with lower embodied carbon in production, which will build the energy efficient buildings of the future. As encouraging as these findings are, they call for further research. The location quotient formula does not capture all of the nuances of a region or industry and must be interpreted within a broader context. Decades of data-intensive research in economic geography have enabled researchers to quantify economic complexity and calibrate an industry's feasibility for a given region. A deeper understanding of Appalachia's economic complexity will help uncover underlying manufacturing capabilities, while studying industry feasibility will allow us to identify green and tech industries that align with the region's existing strength. And we look forward to your conversation today to help us further our research as we continue understanding the Appalachian economy.
Thank you so much, Wendy and Bakash. Brilliant. I know you're all excited to see that. So we have talked a little bit about the future of manufacturing we want to see for the region. Then we discussed the region's existing manufacturing strengths and how they connect to where we want to go. Now we will hear from Ritwika Bhattacharya, or Ritu, the Chief Executive Officer of Prosper America. She will start us off thinking about what we need to do to drive the investment in Appalachia that will be needed to get us from where we are to where we want to go, as well as the need for development of an investor profile for the region so we can really pitch investors on why they should be investing in Appalachia. And then hopefully to talk a little bit about why the Appalachian Manufacturing Action Plan might be helpful in that work. To you, Ritu.
Great, thank you so much. And Amanda, thank you for saying my name out right. That was a lot of vowels and syllables, and yeah, appreciate that. Thank you. And just wanted to echo like the sentiment as well as the tremendous presentation Vikas and Wendy you just kind of shared right now on mapping out the resource and the assets which are there. Amanda, you opened the session by actually sharing the potential which is there. Not just of new energy, but new energies coming in and new technologies coming in, but essentially that we're at the precipice of a kind of rethinking of how the economy is heading in a very different direction with technologies from across sector kind of changing, to say the least, AI being one of them, and changing how workforce responds and how industries are rethinking their own operations and work. So undoubtedly, it's a time for tremendous growth, but it's also a time of rethinking and recalibrating how to present where we stand and what we do. And what's really wonderful with the story map, which we just saw, is that there's active thinking with the Appalachian region on what the pathway forward which should be, and rooted in what the assets of the communities are. At Prosper America, one of the things that we had been doing for the last several months is to map out both the community sentiments on where they see the strengths being, as well as understanding from the industry perspective, what are the assets, what are the kind of characteristics and qualities that they look for when they're looking at new investments. Whether we focused our efforts primarily in renewable technologies, we focused on lithium-ion battery, we focused on solar PVs, to map out what are the criteria as investors that come in. And one of the things that we noticed, particularly for Appalachia, is that while there's a lot of assets, both by way of infrastructure and in one of the initial surveys that came out, talent and human capital came out as a major point of resonance. And that's something else which really is an asset for the community. These are things that investors look for. So the question then begs itself is, how do we as communities, present the data points in a way that resonates and attracts investors? And then B, how do we find and continue to create those platforms to best present those insights? And that's something which we've been actively working on, is how, in terms of both, how do we present information which resonates? And again, Bikash and Wendy, the story map that you presented is an ideal case of what are the qualitative ways in which to talk about the assets which communities have. And one of the indicators, for example, that really inspires confidence is the amount of investment in the region already, which we had heard investors talk previously about, really kind of pulls in that aspect of what the possibilities are within the region. So at Prosper America, our intention has consistently been to be able to map out objectively those three boxes of how do you present infrastructure in a way that resonates with investors of technologies, of new and renewable technologies? How do you go ahead and map out talent, which consistently is one of those areas which we've noticed investors are very keen on, but grapple with being able to identify where do we get this data points from, both by way of graduates, both by way of the existing workforce. And then the third piece is to be able to look at what local industry and what the local ecosystem looks like to be able to house larger manufacturing and larger industry units. And so with these three kind of broad boxes in mind, we've been looking at working and being able to see how best we can build capacities of communities, and then simultaneously look at creating those platforms and those spaces for industries to come in and interact with communities and see how best that interaction can translate into tangible investments for them. The other thing that we've kind of realized is, there's so much capacity, capability, talent, and desire with communities to attract investors. And sometimes the limitations surround around telling stories and being able to get that point across. And so the other piece that we're actively working with RA, and RA has been tremendously helpful in this process, is to look at what do we do in order to engage with communities to have them tell stories really effectively, which resonate. And it's one of those things which is just so fascinating, especially in a platform today, to be able to see how much is out there. But oftentimes it's getting that word out, it's getting that insight out, which ends up being the most significant bottleneck. So one of the things which we are aiming to do as we move forward is to assess and see how best we can build capabilities, essentially, of communities to be able to tell their stories in a way that is true to the values of the communities, but at the same time really kind of showcases the assets that they have to investors. And just in terms of the pathway forward, for us, we're really focused in on being able to now map out and start to think more strategically in the Appalachia region, what are the specific pieces of support the communities need to be able to get these brilliant story maps out? What are the specific pieces of platforms that we need to pull together to get the more solar PV manufacturing, to be able to get lithium ion battery manufacturing companies to come in the same space and to be able to work and hear out communities on bringing in more investments. So that's kind of where we are headed to. With that, deeply grateful to RA for being partners with us on this pathway and looking forward to doing much more together. Back to you, Amanda. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ritu. So we have a lot of food for thought to set the stage for our facilitated breakout sessions, where you all will now have the opportunity to add your 2 cents on both the vision and action plan that is needed to grow clean and efficient manufacturing in the region. If I'm not mistaken, I think we did pretty good on time. Molly and Dana, do we have some time to do Q&A, or are we ready to go straight into breakout sessions?
5 to 7 minutes for Q&A.
Okay, so let's bring all the speakers back up. And Molly, I will hand it to you to help facilitate that Q&A, or Dana.
Yes, I think, Dana, were you tracking the questions?
Yeah, a lot of the questions we got answered in the chat as they were going. So if you asked a question in the chat and it was not answered, then go ahead and re-ask your question for the speakers in the chat. I do just want to open us as we were waiting for those questions to come up. If as we're moving into breakout rooms, I wonder if there's, and as like having heard the other speakers, are there kind of big thoughts that our panelists have about what's next, about what you're most excited about, and as folks move into the breakout rooms, things that you'll be thinking about that you want to encourage others to kind of think about too. So I might start with you, Tom, if you have any thoughts for us.
I think that, the most important thing is just that that there are a lot of great like new technologies, new opportunities that entrepreneurs, maybe even some energy labs and universities are coming up with in the energy technology that are great, but often those are not the people who can make those technologies happen, can put them into place. And that's where you need, some of the manufacturers in our region have been around for 100 years or more. They're multi-generational families and that sort of thing, but they're so focused on making payroll and keeping the customers they have and keeping the lights on, literally both because of the high energy costs and just because of all the other challenges, that they're not always looking at those cutting edge opportunities or those kind of things. So I think that something that Callus Connection tries to do, but it is a big task, and I think we all need to work together, is to bring all those different parties together, because the only way that this is going to be successful in Appalachia versus everywhere else in the world is if we are leading the way in the cutting edge technologies, the ideas, the new opportunities in energy, but with the practical hands-on people who know how to roll up their sleeves and get a product out and make it happen, make sure it meets all the practical requirements, that already have the quality standards in place, and they have the transportation and logistics figured out. So I think it's going to be a constant effort, but I think that's where there's some great opportunity for those of us who aren't manufacturers that are on this call to be helping to produce that and make that happen.
I love that answer so much, and two things come to mind. One, we said earlier, what should people know about Appalachia? And there are so many connections. So what we always need more of is more connections to those folks who are doing the work, have those drinks, and to the folks who have the time and the space to dig into those questions about what's next and what could be the next thing. And so I think we have a strength in there that we can build on about the strength of our connections. And then the other piece I love about what you said is, there are folks here who know how to do this. They are experts in this work in the manufacturing, and that's what Wendy and Bakash's work points to. So I wonder if Wendy or Bakash, if you have any reflections for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a quick one, and that is I am just blown away at how much has been accomplished in North Central Appalachia since I worked in the last time I've been in policy for a long time, but the last time I worked in economic development was in 2010. And there's been so much happened since then. I'm seeing brownfield and coalfield sites turned into industrial parks. I'm seeing DPC, a veteran-owned small business in Meigs County, get into the supply chain for Intel and expand by 45 jobs with new technology and polyvinyl pipe production. I'm seeing a new kind of growth in energy that sometimes I was like, when will this ever happen? It's happening. And so I find it very exciting to be working in manufacturing in this area and seeing the great stuff that our existing manufacturers are doing and how they're getting involved in the supply chains. Just this morning, a group of manufacturing extension programs in Tom Reed's Catalyst Connections group were together talking about how Westinghouse is expanding its domestic supply chain and reinforcing it. There's opportunity for companies like DPC to get more and more business. So it's an exciting time in our region.
Bakash, do you have anything to add to Wendy's great notes there?
Yeah, no, just to echo some of the points Wendy, Tom mentioned. The region is, I think, for a long time, I mean, we all knew that the region is good with manufacturing, but it also has so many different assets, navigable waterways, railway networks. We are within the reach of like most, within 300-mile radius, we reach Boston, we reach New York, like a lot of areas. So the we we have so much potential, and I don't think we have been able to sort of advertise more about it, like what are different assets that exist. So hopefully with the Appalachian Manufacturing Action Plan, we will be able to showcase so many different strengths that exist here, along with, of course, a formidable manufacturing base.
So we just have a moment before we need to move into breakouts, but Ritu, I'd love to hear about some of your thoughts. And there's some questions in the chat about barriers and opportunities that you're seeing, so I might direct that your way.
Right. No, thank you. Thank you for that. And I just kind of say that, all right, Keith, there was a question, a comment on critical minerals, a couple of questions ago, and
Yeah.
it made me think about like the strength of Appalachia, but also the strength of Appalachia relative to the needs globally and the needs nationally. And so it made me think about the fact that there's so much happening and it's happening so quickly by way of demands from different sectors. I think positioning Appalachia for what its strength has been is very valuable, but keeping in mind that areas like critical minerals processing, mining, circular economy, and kind of being able to salvage critical minerals from that ecosystem is going to end up becoming more and more relevant. So how does Appalachia place itself in that global context of these moving pieces? And how does it keep itself more competitive and potentially ahead of those kind of curves and being able to project and predict what might come, and preparing itself potentially of what might come is going to end up being just so important given how fast these pieces are moving, and how quickly we would, as a community, need to adapt to what is to come.